see the speed, you see the length, you see the explosiveness. He can take over a football game when he wants to.
Trying to come back the other way, and Myles Garrett is there. Myles Garrett coming with the heat.
Impose your will on the man in front of you all day, or every play.
He can run straight through your face if he wants to with a power bull rush. He can beat you with speed around the edge if he wants to, or he can have the agility to go inside, outside. That Euro step, inevitable, continues to be the word.
Taken down from behind, guess who? Pressure up the middle, and he's down. Garrett got there.
Throw to throw.
Here comes Myles. He got him. He got him. There it is. Myles Garrett, the new single season sack king.
At the 2025 NFL Honors, Myles Garrett once again stood at the center of the football universe, holding the Defensive Player of the Year trophy like it was always meant to be there. This wasn't some lifetime achievement handout or a sympathy vote. This was dominance, plain and simple. Garrett didn't just win the award. He ripped it away from the rest of the league with a season that felt personal, violent, and historic every single Sunday. Offensive coordinators spent all year trying to scheme him out of games, sliding protections, chipping him with tight ends, keeping backs into block, and none of it mattered. He still got home. He still wrecked drives. He still made quarterbacks panic before the snap. That's the kind of season that forces voters to stop debating and just nod their heads. What makes this DPOY hit even harder is the context. Garrett wasn't stacking empty stats on a losing team or padding numbers late in blowouts. He was the engine of a Cleveland Browns defense that carried the identity of the entire franchise. When Cleveland needed a stop, everyone in the stadium knew where the ball was going, and it still didn't save the offense. Garrett lined up wide, inside, standing up, hand in the dirt, and still found ways to collapse the pocket like a house of cards.
And finally, the greatest team I could ask for, Buck, John, Jay, Nicole, Shay. Y'all have really, taken care of me. Y'all supported me. Y'all have kept me up when I've been down. Y'all really, been timeless. With all the effort y'all put in, and just like a great watch, a great team is timeless. So I'm very appreciative of y'all. And finally, my parents, AG, LG. I couldn't do it without y'all. Y'all the very best in the world. God, let God have the glory. He's willed it, and at the end of the day, it was written.
This was chess at full speed, and Garrett was always 3 moves ahead. His get-off was unreal, his hand usage surgical, and his closing speed unfair for someone built like a defensive end. That's why tackles looked defeated by the second quarter. They knew it was going to be a long night. This season was also a loud reminder of what kind of player Myles Garrett truly is. He isn't just a freak athlete with highlight sacks. He's a complete defensive weapon who understands leverage, timing, and offensive tendencies. You could see it on tape, the way he set tackles up early in games, baited oversets, then countered later with inside moves that left quarterbacks nowhere to go. That's veteran dominance. That's film study meeting physical supremacy. And that's why this DPOY feels like validation, not surprise. Inside the Browns locker room, Garrett's presence changes everything. Young defenders don't just watch him. They learn how to prepare, how to practice, how to carry themselves like pros. When your best player works like the hungriest guy on the roster, the standard gets set immediately. That energy spreads. Suddenly, the defensive line rotates faster, linebackers play freer, and the secondary gets aggressive knowing pressure is coming. Garrett doesn't just win one-on-ones. He upgrades the entire defense just by stepping on the field. And don't get it twisted, this award wasn't just about sacks. It was about impact, forced fumbles, game-changing pressures, third down stops, red zone chaos. Garrett turned critical moments into nightmares for offenses all season long. There were games where he didn't finish with eye-popping sack totals, yet he still controlled everything. Quarterbacks rushed throws. Protection slid early. Play calling shrank. That's real value. That's Defensive Player of the Year value. This moment at NFL Honors also felt like a message to the rest of the league. Myles Garrett isn't slowing down. He isn't satisfied. He isn't coasting on reputation. He's still chasing greatness with a chip on his shoulder. You could see it in his speech, his body language, the way he talked about unfinished business. This wasn't a victory lap. It was a warning. Garrett knows exactly where he stands among the elite defenders in NFL history, and he's clearly not done climbing. Winning DPOY again doesn't close a chapter. It opens a new one. One where expectations rise, where offenses panic earlier, and where every Browns game starts with one question: how do you stop Myles Garrett? And so far, nobody has figured that out. This award didn't crown him. It confirmed what football fans already knew. Myles Garrett is the standard for defensive dominance in today's NFL, and the league is still trying to catch up. What Myles Garrett brings to a team goes way beyond sacks and highlight reels. He sets the temperature of the entire building. When Myles Garrett walks into the facility, the tone is already established. Practice isn't casual. Meetings aren't loose. There's an unspoken understanding that if he is locked in, everybody else better be locked in too. That's leadership without speeches, leadership without noise, leadership through dominance and consistency. And that's exactly why the Browns' defense has transformed into a unit opponents dread facing. Garrett's presence allows Cleveland to build its entire defensive identity around aggression. Defensive coordinators don't have to play scared or conservative because they know pressure is guaranteed. That freedom trickles down to every position group. Linebackers can attack downhill instead of hesitating. Defensive backs can jump routes instead of sitting back.
Myles has gotten better every single year, where the closest you can come up with in terms of a dynamic defensive player that does anything remotely like him, but he doesn't, is Micah Parsons.
And Micah Parsons, I don't know how he's going to be after the injury.
Like Max Crosby's good, Aiden Hutchinson's good.
Yeah.
None of these guys are in the same stratosphere as Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
The playbook opens up when you have a player who commands double teams on almost every snap. That's not theory. That's real football impact. Inside the Cleveland Browns locker room, Garrett is viewed as the cornerstone, not just of the defense, but of the franchise's competitive window. Players talk about how different games feel when he's on the field. There's confidence. There's belief. There's an edge. Offenses feel rushed before the ball is even snapped, and defenders feel empowered knowing chaos is coming. That psychological advantage is priceless in the NFL. What also separates Garrett is how much attention he gives to the small things. He studies protections. He knows how tackles set. He understands how quarterbacks react to pressure. That knowledge gets shared with teammates constantly, during film sessions on the sideline, even mid-drive. That turns individual brilliance into collective intelligence. Suddenly, everyone is playing faster because they know what's coming next. That's how elite defenses are built. This season especially, you could see how Garrett elevated the entire front seven. Edge rushers across from him benefited from one-on-one matchups. Interior linemen saw cleaner lanes. Blitz packages hit harder because protections were already tilted toward Garrett. He doesn't just win his matchup, he warps the offense's entire structure. And when offenses overcommit, that's when the Browns strike from everywhere else. Garrett's leadership also shows up in accountability. He doesn't duck responsibility after losses. He doesn't hide after bad games. He owns everything, publicly and privately. That matters in a locker room full of competitors. When your star doesn't point fingers, nobody else gets to. That culture shift has been one of the most underrated parts of Cleveland's rise on defense. And let's be clear, this DPOY season didn't happen in a vacuum. Garrett came into the year in elite condition, focused and clearly motivated. There was no coasting, no entitlement, just pure intent. Teammates have talked about how intense his preparation was week after week. That level of consistency is exhausting for opponents and inspiring for teammates. It's how standards become habits. Looking ahead, Garrett's presence gives Cleveland flexibility and confidence in roster building. You don't have to overspend for pressure when you already have the best closer in football. You can invest in coverage, depth, and versatility, knowing the front end is handled. That's a luxury very few teams have. And it's one of the reasons the Browns can realistically talk about sustained success instead of short-term flashes. Myles Garrett isn't just part of the Browns. He defines them. He defines how they practice, how they prepare, how they play, and how they're perceived around the league. Every offense circles his name first. Every game plan starts with him. And every week, he proves why that fear is justified. This DPOY award only amplifies what teammates already feel, that as long as Myles Garrett is leading the defense, Cleveland will never walk onto the field at a disadvantage. The foundation is set. The identity is clear. As dominant as the 2025 season was, what really separates Myles Garrett right now is that he's clearly not satisfied. This Defensive Player of the Year award didn't calm him down, it sharpened him. Everything coming out of the Browns building points to a player who sees this moment as leverage, not closure. Garrett knows exactly where he stands in the league, and he also knows what's still missing from his resume. Individual awards are great, but they're not the finish line. They're proof that the foundation is set. Garrett's short-term vision is loud without being reckless. He's been vocal about wanting Cleveland to become a team no one wants to see in January. Not flashy talk, not social media noise, real football urgency. He understands that elite defenses don't just dominate regular seasons. They travel, they age well, and they close playoff games. That's the next step in his mind, and everything he's doing now points directly toward that goal. One of the biggest developments around Garrett is how involved he's become in shaping the defensive culture moving forward. This isn't just about him rushing the passer anymore. He's taken ownership of how young players develop, how veterans communicate, and how accountability is enforced. That's franchise player behavior. When your best defender starts thinking like a coordinator and acting like a leader, the ceiling of the unit jumps immediately. Inside the Cleveland Browns, there's a growing sense that Garrett wants this defense built to last, not just peak. That means depth. That means rotation. That means players around him being prepared to step up instead of leaning on him every snap. Garrett doesn't want to be the only answer. He wants to be the anchor that lets everyone else thrive. That mindset is dangerous for the rest of the league. From a football standpoint, Garrett is already talking about expanding his game even further. He's not chasing sacks. He's chasing control. Controlling protections. Controlling down and distance. Controlling how offenses call plays. He's become obsessed with early down dominance, knowing that forcing long yardage situations lets the defense dictate everything. That's grown man football thinking. That's how legends extend their primes. There's also a clear physical plan in place. Garrett has been meticulous about recovery, conditioning, and maintaining explosiveness. He understands that longevity is earned, not gifted. This isn't about getting bigger or flashier. It's about staying violent, fast, and durable deep into seasons when games matter most. The way he manages his body now mirrors players who stayed elite well into their 30s. That's not accidental. Garrett's influence is also shaping how opponents prepare for Cleveland. Teams are already dedicating entire practice segments just to simulating his rush style. That's respect. That's fear. And that attention creates opportunities everywhere else on the field. When offenses obsess over one player, they inevitably leave cracks somewhere else. Garrett knows that, and he's embracing it. Another key part of Garrett's short-term vision is accountability at the highest level. He's made it clear through his actions that effort is non-negotiable. Missed assignments, lazy reps, mental lapses, none of it flies anymore. That standard isn't coming from coaches. It's coming from the locker room. When your leader holds everyone to the same bar he holds himself to, excuses disappear fast. There's also an emotional edge to this chapter. Garrett understands the expectations that come with being the face of a defense. He embraces the pressure. He wants the responsibility. He wants the ball, the moment, the assignment that decides the game. That mentality spreads, especially in tight playoff-style matchups, where hesitation gets exposed. This DPOY season didn't slow Myles Garrett down. It clarified his mission. He sees an opening. He sees a window, and he's pushing everyone around him to step through it with him. The message inside the building is simple and intense. Greatness isn't promised, it's taken. By now, the league understands a hard truth. Everything Cleveland wants to become runs straight through Myles Garrett. This isn't hyper-projection, it's structure. The Browns' path toward real championship relevance is built on one simple principle: control the line of scrimmage, dictate tempo, and finish games with defense. And at the center of that entire philosophy stands Myles Garrett, the ultimate closer when games tighten and nerves creep in. When postseason football arrives, speed increases, mistakes shrink, and windows disappear. That's where elite pass rushers separate from great ones. Garrett has proven he's built for those moments. His ability to win instantly off the snap forces quarterbacks into panic mode before routes even develop. That kind of disruption doesn't just create sacks, it destroys game plans. Coaches abandon deep concepts. Protections get conservative. Offenses start playing not to lose instead of trying to win. The Browns' defensive blueprint is evolving specifically to maximize Garrett's postseason impact. Rotation up front keeps him fresh. Coverage schemes are designed to bait quarterbacks into holding the ball just long enough. Everything is synchronized. It's not chaos, it's calculated pressure. That's how elite defenses operate in January. And Cleveland knows that with Garrett leading the charge, they always have a chance to flip games in a single series. What makes this even more dangerous is how Garrett thrives when attention peaks. Triple teams, chips, slide protections. None of it discourages him. It excites him. He understands that his presence alone creates favorable matchups elsewhere. That awareness turns sacrifice into strategy. Garrett doesn't need the stat line to dominate. He just needs the offense to react to him. And they always do. Inside the Cleveland Browns organization, there's a growing belief that this defense can become the backbone of sustained playoff runs. Not a one-year spike, not a lucky stretch, a consistent identity. And that belief starts with Garrett's reliability. Week after week, season after season, he delivers the same level of violence, effort, and focus. That kind of dependability is rare at any position, let alone one as physically demanding as edge rusher. Opposing quarterbacks feel Garrett before they see him. You can tell by the way they speed up their mechanics, abandon progressions, and drift into pressure. That psychological edge compounds over 4 quarters. Even when he doesn't record a sack, he's affecting every throw, every decision, every protection call. That's why coaches lose sleep preparing for Cleveland. Because there's no clean solution. Garrett's dominance also allows Cleveland to play smarter situational football. 3rd and long becomes a weapon. Red zone snaps turn into traps. 2-minute drills favor the defense. When you have a pass rusher who can end drives without help, the margin for error expands dramatically. That's championship math. And it's exactly why Cleveland's confidence heading into future playoff pushes is real, not manufactured. There's also a legacy component beginning to take shape. Garrett is already being mentioned among the most impactful defenders of his era. But he's not chasing comparisons. He's chasing results. He understands that rings cement reputations. That's why his focus has shifted toward finishing seasons the right way. This isn't about padding career totals. It's about delivering moments that define franchises. What's coming next for Cleveland is pressure, the good kind. Expectations rise. Windows tighten. And excuses vanish. But if you're building around defense, there's no better foundation than a player who demands excellence by example. Garrett doesn't just want to be remembered. He wants Cleveland remembered. When the lights dimmed at the 2025 NFL honors and the applause faded, one truth stayed loud and clear. Myles Garrett is the standard. This Defensive Player of the Year award isn't a peak, it's a checkpoint. A confirmation that Cleveland's most important piece is still ascending, still hungry, still locked in. While the rest of the league debates windows and timelines, the Browns already know what theirs looks like. It looks like number 95 coming off the edge with bad intentions. What makes this moment different is how intentional Garrett is about what comes next. He's not chasing headlines or individual praise. He's chasing control of outcomes, control of games, control of moments, control of January football. His vision for the team is simple but ruthless. Dominate early, suffocate late, and leave no doubt when it matters most. That mindset is contagious, and it's reshaping how Cleveland approaches every snap. Inside the Cleveland Browns, Garrett's voice carries weight because it's backed by production. He doesn't demand effort, he defines it. He doesn't ask teammates to rise, he pulls them up with him. That kind of leadership can't be coached or manufactured. It's earned through consistency, sacrifice, and violence between the lines. The scary part for the rest of the league is that Garrett's game isn't slowing down. His explosion is still elite. His technique is sharper than ever. And his understanding of offenses has reached a level where he's dictating games without even touching the quarterback. That's not decline. That's evolution. And evolved pass rushers don't just win games. They end seasons. Cleveland's future remains tied directly to Garrett's prime, and right now that prime is blazing hot. Every roster move, every defensive wrinkle, every postseason goal is built with one assumption: Myles Garrett will show up. And history says that's a safe bet. When pressure rises, he rises higher. When moments shrink, he expands. This DPOY trophy isn't sitting on a shelf, it's fuel. Fuel for another offseason of obsession. Fuel for another year of destruction. Fuel for a defense that believes it can break anyone standing in its way. The message to the league is clear and uncomfortable. The road through Cleveland still runs through Myles Garrett. And until someone proves they can stop him, not slow him, not scheme him, but stop him, the Browns will keep hunting, keep believing, and keep swinging with the most dangerous defender in football leading the charge.